Hey everyone, welcome to our studio show here, MXGP round 15 in Belgium at Lommel, where my guests today, Jordi Tixier, Dean Ferris and Thomas Ramsbacher. But before we go any further, here's a recap what happened a week ago in Lockett. Here's some highlights from MX2 Race 2. Dropped again for MX2 Race 2, on board with Romain Fevre down into turn 1, switching to Charlier, and it was Alexander Tonkov who pulled the foxhole shot, and behind our race leader Jose Boutron, all hell was breaking loose. Tim Geiser saved this on his Garibaldi Honda as Charlier shouted his way up the inside and nudged him out of the way, but by then Geiser carrying some kind of leg injury as a result of that near miss. Charlier then responded and pushed on to the front of the field, leaving Tonkov and Tixier and the rest to duke it out. That was a great move from Tixier around the outside of Tonkov there. That got him up into third place. As Dylan Ferrandis trying to rectify the problems from race 1, carved his way through the field, taking a slice of Tixier on the way through as well. Charlier made that pass on Boutron on lap 7 to get his factory Yamaha into the lead, as Dylan Ferrandis also moved into second with that pass on Boutron. 3 laps later, Romain Fevre was the danger man on the 461 Husqvarna, as Boutron carved his way down the inside of Tixier. There really was absolutely being nothing left on the table in this second MX2 race. Fevre once again forcing his way down the inside of Tixier, and then Boutron got himself up into third, as Tixier and Boutron almost came to blows. These guys fighting for the overall Grand Prix. A stalled engine from Fevre dropped him from third down to 6th, but a couple of laps later he was right back in the mix, going after Boutron for a possible third place. A nervous Romain Fevre looking left and right, didn't know which way the attacks were coming from, and he was a little bit rattled, and out of nowhere, number 92 on the standing construct KTM, Valentin Guyot, had charged his way from outside of the top 10 and was suddenly knocking on the door for third place. Romain Fevre threw it away once again, and he would eventually come home in 6th. The win went to Charlier, his first race in almost 12 months, but the overall Grand Prix belonged to Jordi Tixier, his first ever in MX2. Valentin Guyot was also a first-time visitor to the podium. Christophe Charlier was third. And your MX2 podium then looked like this: Jordi Tixier, Valentin Guyot and Christophe Charlier. Tixier closing in on Jeffrey Hurling's lead. Jordi Tixier joins me now, and obviously that was a pretty intense second moto, wasn't it, a week ago?
Yeah, you know, it was a really tough moto for all of us. You know, I didn't take a good start of second moto, and I was a little bit nervous about winning the overall of the day. And you know, my rhythm was not so good on the track. I was always looking left and right in the back, and we had a lot of fight, and was possible to go second in 1 lap and 5 in the second lap. But you know, was a really nice race. I mean, for us and also for the fans and for the spectator, I think was a really nice race, and I did it. I won the overall, so it was a really great weekend for me.
Yeah, well, we'll talk more about that in just a moment. But coming into the season, obviously last year you finished second. Wasn't a great start for you at the beginning of the year. Were you expecting to be closer to Jeffrey Hurling's then in the first few rounds than you were?
Yeah, you know, after my year from last year, my expectation was a little bit more high this year, and was not working like I want. I had some problem in the winter, and I couldn't train like I want. So I'm coming in the first few GP was quite difficult for me. I didn't have a good feeling on the bike, and I was struggling weekend after weekend, and so I have to walk back till the beginning, and but now it's coming better and better every GP. So now it's my 6th podium in a row, and I feel better. So now my goal is just to stay on the box, and yeah, still 3 GP to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, it took until GP5 in Bulgaria before you got your first podium, 2 third-place finishes. Was that a relief? You know, suddenly it was like, wow, thank goodness for that. You know, the podium, finally I can maybe concentrate on going forward.
Yeah, that's true, because after my beginning of the season, I was like really disappointed and sad. So I was not good. And then Bulgaria is coming, and yeah, back on the box. So it was really good. Like you can see, also the second moto was really tough for me. I had a big problem with the goggles, and I have to to ride without goggles behind Ferrandis for all moto. And but yeah, I finished on the podium, and I was pretty happy to be back on the box.
Was the pressure starting to build a little bit coming into Bulgaria, knowing that you have to be on the box soon?
You know, pressure, I cannot say I had pressure because, yeah, for sure before I had pressure because I have to be on the box again, and I have to be like, I need to show to everybody that I am still the second guy on the championship. And after that podium, I feel so much better, and I keep working so hard, and after the podium is coming, so yeah, till this GP, I feel so much better in my body and in my mind.
Yeah, the following GP you also got a podium, but then Spain and England, no podiums. What happened there, real quick?
I didn't have, you know, Spain was not so good for me. I was not so far from the podium, but the track was really tricky and not easy to pass, and I had some bad starts, some crash, and yeah, the feeling was not good, but still some good points for the championship. And then England, the same. I had a really good feeling on the track the first few practice, and then in the race was different. Not so good start, and yeah, struggling some race, and still no podium. But yeah, like I said, still some good points on the championship.
Since then, though, you've not been off the podium. Twice second, 3 times third, and then the GP win in Lockett that we just saw. Big moment for you then.
Yeah, you know, now I'm almost always on the box the last GP, and last weekend was I think my best GP ever. For sure, Jeffrey was not there, and I was really sad for that. But I need to take the points, and now it's my time to do. He sent me a message after his crash. He said, "Now it's your time." And all the time he said to me, "This last year I had so much pressure and I crashed all the time, but now this year I had a good feeling on the track in Lockett, and I was really surprised because the year before I felt really not good on that track. I was so stiff and really slippery, so I was really not good. But this year the feeling was there, and I won the first moto quite easy. Yeah, my start was really good and really good feeling on the track, and second moto I was thinking a bit too much about the overall, and my start was a little bit less, and yeah, it was a really big fight between 5 of us, and but I did it. You know, I was just really happy.
We just saw this at the beginning of the program, some of the highlights from MX2 Race 2 last week in Lockett. It was a pretty intense fight. When you know you're in a position where you can possibly win a GP like that for the first time ever, there's an element of risk there, isn't there, from your side?
Yeah, for sure. It was not the race I won for winning my first GP because I had pressure for 30 minutes, and because with Roman was possible to win the GP also, and he was a bit faster than me. He passed me, and then after this, I say, yeah, I have to stay in his wheel, but was not possible. You know, I had so much pressure, and I say, I have to win the overall, but it was not working, you know. But yeah, he had a small crash, 4 or 5 laps to go, and when I saw that, I was like, yeah, now don't crash and keep like this, and it will be good.
How important was that victory for you at this stage of the season?
Was really important, you know, because since I am a kid, I was thinking about winning the GP, and I did it last weekend. And I was thinking so much about this, and it was really important weekend for me, and I did it for everybody. I mean, for all the team who did a great job all the time for me, and my family, my girlfriend, all the fans around me, and yeah, I did it for us.
There are 3 of you in the championship mathematically, Jeffrey, obviously you and Romain Febvre. Are you starting to think about the World Championship yet, in terms of it's possible for you to win it?
You know, I'm thinking a little bit, but I try to don't think, because otherwise I will have pressure on myself and will be not working. I know that, so I just try to take GP by GP. Now it's 3 to go, and like I did last weekend, get a good point for the championship, have fun on the bike, enjoy, and I will tell you in Mexico what's going to happen.
Okay, obviously different kind of circuit this weekend. We're in the sand in Lomo. Are you looking forward to it this weekend?
Yeah, you know, it's not a really track I like because I'm not the king in the sand, but you know, I can say I'm not happy that Jeffrey is not there because I don't want to get a lap. And but you know, I'm looking forward for that GP. I think I'm riding not so bad in the sand. This morning was quite good for me. I get a second lap time behind Ferrandis, so Yeah, I'm looking forward for that. Take a good start, enjoy, and we'll see tomorrow evening.
Okay, finally, did you give Jeffrey his big kiss yet?
Yeah, you know, I'm really sad for that, you know. He's the best teammate ever, you know. We had a really good relationship together, and when I hear that news, I was really sad for him. And I see him this week, and you know, he didn't look good. He was like, yeah, he looked sick. He was white and skinny, but you know, he's strong mentally, and I think he will be back in Mexico, and I hope that for him.
All right, well, Jordi Tixier, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, thanks for joining us here this weekend. Before Jordi disappears, forgot to mention right at the beginning of the program, actually, you might wonder why this helmet is sitting here. There's a chance for you to win this, and I'm going to tell you how now. Go to our Facebook page. If you become the 200,000th like, okay, on our Facebook page, you can win what is a signed Antonio Cairoli. There's the signature there. Okay, Tony Cairoli signed replica aero helmet. All you got to do, go to MXGP Facebook page, and if you are the 200,000 like, then you will be the lucky winner of this helmet. So good luck with that one. Right, in a moment, we're going to welcome our MXGP guest, but before then, let's see what happened in MXGP 1 week ago in Lockett in the Czech Republic.
MXGP Race 2. Great start from Tony Cairoli, but not so great for Gauthier Paulin and Milko Podolzek. Both riders getting stuck in the gate. Tony Cairoli thought he'd grab the whole shot, but it was Dennis Ulrich on the Saarholz KTM who crossed the Fox line first. But once again, it wasn't long before Cairoli was through into the lead, and the body language suggested that he was more than up for the fight after picking up third in the first race. Van Hoorbeek went with him right from the very first lap. So too did Kevin Strybos on the 22, as Ulrich settled down in fourth place. Behind them was Dean Ferris and Mattis Caro on the Wilvo Fort Rank KTM. Dennis Ulrich taking a look round, say, well, am I in the right race? Where is everybody? Well, he was doing a great thing there in fourth place, but behind them, the battle between Frossard as he charged his way through the field, first past Sean Simpson, and then he went after the number 39, Richie TM, of Davide Guarnieri as they battled over fifth position. Guarnieri tried to carve his way up the inside, then he got a little bit impatient, squared off the Frenchman nicely. The two banged bars, Frossard miraculously stayed up, and Guarnieri went down. He would eventually come home in seventh. Up front though, all eyes were on this battle for the lead between Antonio Cairoli on the Red Bull KTM and the Yamaha factory racing machine of Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, who got the drive going up the hill with 2 laps to go. He applied the pressure. Cairoli knew that the Belgian was there, tried to protect his line, ran wide at the bottom of the hill. A bad connection with the rut. Van Hoorbeek was through with an audacious move down the inside of the Sicilian, as seen by Cairoli. And for the next 2 laps, Jeremy Van Hoorbeek had to keep his nerve and his composure, knowing that the 7-time world champion could pounce at any moment. Van Hoorbeek crested the hill on the final time with a good clean run into the finish to take his first victory in MXGP and the overall Grand Prix victory. Cairoli held on for second, Strybos held on for third. But what a day, what a race, what a Grand Prix for Jeremy Van Hoorbeek and Yamaha Factory Racing. They pick up their first victory of the season. Strybos his best result of the year in second, Cairoli third. Of course, that lead of Cairoli's been pulled back 5 points. Jeremy Van Hoorbeek just 57 points behind now though. But for Jeremy Van Hoorbeek, his first victory came in 2009 in MX2 at the Grand Prix of Catalonia. This is his second Grand Prix in his career, his first in MXGP.
Welcome back to our studio. My second guest joins me now, Dean Ferris, Red Bull Ice One Husqvarna Factory Racing, all the way from Australia or America, whichever way we want to look at it. It's still far away to come. But Dean, welcome back. First of all, you should be a Red Bull KTM rider in the USA, but you're riding for the Red Bull Ice One Husqvarna team now. First of all, how did that come about?
Yeah, well, obviously I was riding Red Bull KTM in America throughout the Supercross series. I got injured while I was back in Australia picking up my visa, and I spent a few months there. And I come back to America, and I was getting ready to race the outdoors, and I was ready to go racing at Muddy Creek. And I went to Roger and said, hey, let's make it happen. Let's go racing this weekend. And he said, yeah, you know what, we can do that. But he said, I've just got this opportunity for you to go back and ride for the Husqvarna team, the factory Husqvarna team, Ice1 Red Bull Racing, and he said if you want to go back there and race for MX1, you know, obviously Roger picking up that I might want to go back to MXGP for 2015. He gave me the opportunity and said it's quite possible, as Husqvarna and KTM sort of one big family at the moment. And he said if you want to do it, just go. And I was pretty much on the first flight out of America to come back and race some Grand Prix and fill in.
So you're missing Europe, maybe a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I had the intention to come back in 2015 to race here, and I was pretty much only just thinking that. We know I was getting ready to race. I was quite happy to do the AMA Nationals and then come back here, but the opportunity come up, and it seemed right to come back because this is where I wanted to come for the next year, and I figured it's going to give me a better opportunity to get a good ride here for next year.
And how are you finding settling back in again to you know, the MXGP and European way of living?
Yeah, the way of living for me is no problem. I settled in immediately, and I'm really grateful that my friends from just up the road here near Lommel, they took me in, and I've been living with them for the last month, and it's, you know, I feel at home. So that's been great. And obviously it was a couple of years since I raced in the Premier class here, the MXGP class. So, but no, I think I found my feet pretty quick, and you've seen in Finland I went really well, and I adapted to the 350 quite well as well.
First race for Red Bull Ice1 Husqvarna was in Sweden. Was it a tougher return than you thought it would be? Obviously, given that you were coming back from injury as well, it's your first real race back, but also the level of MXGP, I guess.
I felt as the weekend went on, I seemed to get worse and worse, and I didn't know why. But then I woke up on Monday morning and I had the flu and all sorts of things, and you know, I had no explanation for it on the Sunday. I just felt weak and everything, lethargic, and you know, I was pretty disappointed. It was my first motocross race in about 9 months, but I still expected more, you know. So Sweden was tough, and definitely.
And what about Finland that we're looking at here? Seemed a lot better. You were, what, 2 laps away from being on the podium, maybe even a lap from being on the podium overall.
I was actually only 4 corners away from being on the podium. I actually didn't know it at the time, you know. I was just putting it all in, but Strybos was really strong, and we caught up to Simpson, which was in 3rd, and I was in 4th, and I was going for the pass on Simpson here, as you're about to see, and you know, I made a mistake, and Strybos got me. You know, I was still happy with the race, but then I found out that I lost out on the podium by, you know, 4 turns. So I was.
And it dropped you to 6th overall, or something like that in the end.
Yeah, I went from 3rd to 6th. So I was you know, quite angry to know that I missed out on my first podium, just in my second race, returning to Grand Prix. So.
And what about Lockett last week? Not everybody's cup of tea in terms of the nature of the circuit, but how did you find it? Because the results will show that it was probably a tougher GP than maybe the other 2.
Yeah, definitely. I knew going to that race that it was going to be tough, just given the nature of the circuit, the slippery surface and everything. I finished 9th in the first one. I didn't feel I rode really well, but the second one I was holding down 8th. And with only 2 laps to go, I made a small crash, and I dropped back to 15th. But overall, if I'd have finished 8th and 9th, would have given me about 6th, 7th overall. I would have been happy with that. You know, that was still a lot better than the previous year at that track. So I'd gotten better, but unfortunately, I made a little crash. But it's definitely a surface I need to work on. I look forward to getting back there in some years to come to get better at that track.
Now in MX2 at the moment, obviously Jeffrey Hurling's injured, broken femur. Going to be missing the rest of the season. Well, up until Mexico at least. Anyway, we're not sure yet. But the last time that he crashed out and injured himself and handed the opportunity to the rest of the guys in MX2, you were the one that stepped up to the plate, and you were the one that came away with 2 victories. Of course, talking about the GP in Belgium last year, and we have footage of it. You know, who do you expect? I mean, you can tell me about this race in a moment, actually, but who do you expect the guys to be stepping up this weekend and for the rest of the season? Obviously, we saw Tixier last week, but will he maintain that, do you think?
Yeah, look, I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if Tixier is going to win last weekend because, you know, when the opportunity came up, it seemed that Tixier buckled under the pressure a little bit and had some big crashes. And
this was last year you're talking about?
Last year. And I was the one to take some moto wins, along with Charlier took another moto win. But Tixier proved last weekend that he can do it, and he won the overall. So as for this weekend, I haven't been following MX2 that much, and I don't know who's going to be the quickest sand rider. I remember Ferrandis was quite quite fast at Lirop last year. So he could possibly be a spoiler this weekend, I think.
Now, the 3 guys left in the MX2 title race, obviously Jeffrey, 102 points clear of Tixier, then there's Tixier and then Roman Fevre, but he's 141 behind, so it's slightly tougher for him. But at this stage, who or what is your prediction in terms of how that championship will end up?
Obviously, if Jeffrey doesn't come back, I think Tixier has a really good chance. I looked at the points last night and you know, checked it all out. But Roman would pretty much have to win every race, and Tixier have something really bad happen for you know, for Ferber to win the championship. So I don't know. It would just have to wait and see if Jeffrey's going to be back for the last round.
Yeah, and obviously it's your last GP in MXGP this weekend before you go back and finish, you know, what you were going to do the last few rounds in outdoor. But what about plans from here next year? Is everything sorted for you now for next year, 2015? Do you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I do, but you know, I can't say at this moment. I'm pretty happy with the opportunity I've been given, and yeah, I'm going to be staying here and doing GPs next year, so I'm really excited. But as for the last 3 AMA Nationals, that's not going to happen anymore. So
Right.
yeah, it was just an internal decision that you know, Husqvarna was happy that I just stay here and make sure I focus on these last Grand Prix and not think too much about the last 3
So
AMAs.
will you be in the last 2 GPs and in Mexico and Brazil?
That's uncertain right now.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, and all right, well, that's it. Dean Ferris, Red Bull Ice One, Husqvarna Factory Racing, thanks for joining us. All the best for the rest of the season, however long it may be, and also for next year. Right, competition time once again. Don't forget, if you can guess the top 3, you get the chance to win not only the MXGP official video game, but also MXGP TV access, and also Ippon lubricants. Those items are to be won as well. So all you need to do, go to the MXGP Facebook page, submit your guess, top 3 in MXGP and MX2 this weekend for your chance to win those goodies. And of course, good luck with that one. And of course, we'll recap on another competition a little bit later on. Well, my next guest is just about in position here. And talking about Thomas Ramsbacher, team manager of Rockstar Energy Suzuki Europe. Welcome to Lommel. Welcome to the final European phase. We've got 2 more in Brazil and Mexico, State of Goiás and Leon. In terms of Rockstar Energy Suzuki Europe, how would you describe your season so far, you know, with your Grand Prix guys? We'll talk a little bit more in detail about them, but just as a general overview.
Fantastic start into the season with Glenn when he did the podiums, when we've been able in 4 GPs to be 3 times on the podium and even won motos. A moto when Jeffrey was there in Alco was something special, of course. Then with Jeremy Seaver, first full season in this year, he surprised everybody, and this, with his kind of riding, the stability, to be top 10, that was also something special for us, yes.
And in terms of individual riders, because Julian had been there a couple of years now, were you expecting a little bit more from him, maybe?
No. I expect at the beginning of the season it was the plan to come back as a good top 10 rider. That was what I thought his potential after 7 months out after an injury. But see, his expectation been way higher, and I think that brought himself and also us under real pressure. And I think that was already a point at the beginning of the season where we couldn't achieve the goals we both been looking for, and that's unfortunately for him because he's such a good person and such a good rider.
We have got some footage of the riders with Julian. Obviously, there's been some races. I think twice he's now been 7th overall in different GPs. So, and the last 5 races, he's really shown some good consistency, hasn't he?
Yes, but he never was happy. He never was happy with that what he achieved because he believed in himself. He can be even better, and so this was a little bit the point that we said, come on, now maybe it's better to settle down for yourself, prepare yourself for the new season, 4 to 15, and be prepared and go into that.
And what about Jeremy? Obviously, looking at his results yesterday, 50% of his finishes this year have been 10th or higher. So that's, you know, out of 28 motos, 14 of those. So in terms of, you know, his progress, he's showing good speed, good consistency, maybe starting to believe in himself a little bit.
With Jeremy, it's pretty clear. You make me him a plan before the season, and one thing we have to consider, he still was up to 4 weeks ago, he was in school. He had to finish his profession there, and he was not a full pro. So our goal was with him to go into the season and finish between 15 and 10. And what he showed now, like you said, the consistency, we are there. We are top 10 in the World Championship. And so this is the goal. He achieved the maximum of the goal what we've been talking for. And of course, next year he will have the potential to be, way better.
And just looking at him there in Arco, I think it was the first race, wasn't it? He started, didn't whole shot, well, he whole shot, then got passed by Guillaume fell, but running up at the sharp end, I was talking to him about it the other week, and it was a big surprise for him. But you kind of get the impression he's very quiet. He's not one to really sort of brag about his achievements and one thing or another. But you know, you obviously work very closely with him. After that race, how was he? Was he all jubilant, or was he, maybe disappointed that he only finished fifth all of a sudden?
No. He is realistic, and I think this is one of the real straight points for Jeremy Saver. He is realistic with the things he is doing. Okay, even if he finished good, then he starts to think about, okay, what I can do better. So he never goes really enthusiastic, but he never goes real deep. So this is also, I think, good advantage for him.
And what about, we'll come on to Glenn in a moment, but what about Brian Sue this weekend? Obviously leading the 125 EMX Championship. He won in 85s in 2012, the FIM Junior, and he's also won a 65 European as well. But there's a lot on the line for him here, but obviously Davey's injured, so it makes it just a little bit easier, especially in the sand. It could be a big weekend for you guys and for Brian.
When we signed up Brian, now already 4 years ago, we feel already that there is something special. And Brian is also one of these guys, they want to go to school, finish school, study something, and then it's motocross. And so he's working to win, yes. Unfortunately, he's real unhappy now because Davey is not here. Because this is also a point, and best wishes to Davey in this case. It's fantastic to see these both guys racing outside there, because both, I think, outstanding for their age, and they are good. So this will be maybe a little bit sad for Brian if he's not there, but still he have to race the track, and this is already difficult enough for him.
Yeah, and they are two guys, aren't they, that have been on the radar for a while. 2012, as we said. Brian was FIM Junior World Champion. Davey was third. In Matterley, when it was a European, it was Davey who won it. Brian crashed and had some bad luck. And here we are now, 125 European. It's the same two guys, you know, stepping up above the field. But from his side, he has a real bright future, doesn't he, Brian?
He has. Of course. He loves Supercross. He's one of these guys. There is a little bit of link. I do not like to have these links with Kenny Roxon, for example, but when I met the family and himself, it was the same like with Heiko and Steffi that time. They've been already in mind in US, and that was the same here.
And what about Glenn Coldenhoff? Obviously back this weekend. What can we expect? How's he feeling?
This is difficult. This is difficult to answer, of course. He have a dream himself. This is clear for a Dutch guy. When he came up to me and said, okay, maybe it's the perfect place to come back here in Lommel, I said, on a tough track like this, but for a Dutch guy, I think it's the best place to come back. So we have to see. To be honest, I'm happy if he can finish top 5. I'm real happy, and I'm super happy to see him back on the bike.
Before he got hurt, he picked up 2 race wins. The first one here in Brazil, the second one in Trentino. And obviously this one, Jeffrey wasn't there, but the one in Italy probably meant more to him because obviously Jeffrey was there in the field. But a big sort of jump in his expectations this year from everybody. He won his first GP at Matterley last year, riding for standing. But at the same time, you know, coming in to your team at Rockstar Energy Suzuki Europe, but there was a lot of unknowns there, wasn't there? Because you've not been the luckiest with maybe riders and problems over the last few years, but Glenn has put all of that to bed, and he's come out with 2 victories. He was running top 3 in the championship, had a real good chance to win the World Championship this year. And obviously he was the first guy that was injured in the season.
That was the point, like you mentioned. It was we had a great time up to 2010, and after that the team also, we have to recover ourselves back from a difficult time, and then we had, of course, unluck with Peter Petrov and with Harry Kulas in that year when both get injured, and Max Ensti never performed as he had to perform. And okay, now with Glenn we have a professional rider again, which is 100% behind the thing and living really for the weekend.
Can he affect the outcome of the championship this year now, with the last 3 rounds, in terms of if Jeffrey comes back or not, or taking points off of Jordi over the next couple of 3 races? No?
We never think about that.
No.
Okay, never think about that, because this is a point you can't interfere with a comeback. We don't know where we end up this weekend, but this is not our intention to interfere something or to look for something. No, we only be out there for racing and see him back on the track.
Okay, and what about 2015? What can you tell us about next year?
2015 for Suzuki-wise, it's pretty clear. Glenn Coldenhoff will move up to MX1.
Yeah.
About the age. Jeremy Saber will stay for MX2 the next 2 years with Suzuki, and then we have Brian Xu moving to the European 250 with several races in the MX2 World Championship 2. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The team still will stay the same. All partners continues also for 250. The only thing which will change, it's my personal thing, I will leave Suzuki. I will leave the team to look for another new challenge.
And so this is an exclusive now. No one knows about this.
No. It's not a secret anymore. I will join Fox Europe as country manager for Germany and Austria. This is my profession, what I studied, what I always worked also for Suzuki too. And it was always clear that I want to do something else between 40 and 45. I want to look for something else to do. And I already was close to do it end of 2010, but then the situation happened there with the main partner. So I was not able to leave, because if I left there, the team will go down. So it was clear I want to leave the team when everything is going well, when our partners are there, good riders are there, and yeah, can go with a good feeling there.
So no more at Suzuki, and hello, Fox.
Yeah,
Thomas
true,
Ramsbacher.
true.
Well, we're almost done here. Thomas Ramsbacher, Rockstar Energy Suzuki Europe, thanks for joining us. Just another quick reminder, though, about this fantastic competition. If you want your chance to win this signed Tony Cairoli Aero helmet, it's a replica helmet. You see his signature just there on the top. All you have to do is go to our MXGP Facebook page. See Tony signing it right now. So this is that helmet. Go to our MXGP page, Facebook. If you become the 200,000th like, you will win this Aero helmet, this Antonio Cairoli signed replica helmet. So I would say that's a pretty good prize, wouldn't you? Good luck with that one. Right, that's all we have time for on our show this week. We'll be back in 5 weeks, can you believe it, when we go to the state of Goiás in Brazil, and obviously the final round in León in Mexico. But this weekend in Lommel, we still have European champions to be crowned in 150, 125, 250 and 300 EMX. So it's going to be a busy weekend for a lot of people out there, including us. So hope you enjoy the racing this weekend, and we'll do it all over again in 5 weeks' time. Hope you can join us then. Bye for now.